In 7th grade, my Spanish teacher, fed up with our class's misbehavior, stopped class and made us all stand up. The teacher was a kind lady and not a bad teacher, but our class was constantly goofing off and causing disruptions. One by one, she directed us into 2 groups and called one group the bad students and the other the good students. The bad group was roughly 2/3 of the class. As one might expect, my classmates were more than a little shocked that the teacher had resorted to this strategy. Never before had any of us experienced anything similar. It is not unusual for a teacher to play favorites, but to be put into such a clear-cut hierarchy was unheard of. Being labeled in such an obviously negative way could have had a variety of consequences for the bad students. First of all, it is incorrect to label any student as good or bad, because every student is much more complex than those simple labels. Furthermore, labeling a student as bad can affect their educational prospects down the road, since such a label can perpetuate any so-called negative traits a student may have. If anything, the label should have been something more constructive, so that the student does not consign him or herself to the perceived negative traits that placed him or her in the bad group. Another scenario could see the student intensifying his or her misbehavior out of anger at the teacher for this grouping. That being said, all students are unique and thus react differently to things like labeling. Most theories tend to generalize, which is understandable because it makes it easier to predict outcomes if everybody is the same. It is often impossible to account for individual differences in theories, purely because humans are such complicated creatures. Many, including my friends in the class and myself, were for the most part indifferent to this experience or took it lightheartedly and joked about it later. So, in this situation, all of the students did not react negatively to being labeled, even those placed in the bad group. Keeping that in mind, an unorthodox classroom technique like this one should still be avoided because of the negative consequences that have been shown to come from similar cases of labeling.